how are we all? I hope you're doing well. Sorry I haven't put a video up for a couple of weeks. There's been lots of doctor's appointments my end, but anyway, we won't talk about that. I've been working on an awesome project and I hope that you're going to love it. So what I did was I took an old magazine like this and I turned it into the most delicious art journal like this. So come with me in the video and let's see how I did it. Here we go. Step one, get any magazine you like. This was the one that came in for December for me. I've got a subscription to Country Style. Okay, so any magazine. And then what we want to do is roughly in half because the full size is just too big. All right, so yeah, just start ripping it up in half and you'll see that it sort of comes out uneven. That's great. That's exactly what we want. So just keep ripping around about half and don't try and be perfect. I mean, if you really want it perfect, use a ruler, but I don't want it perfect, and you'll see how it turns out is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to speed up the rest of this so that you've got the idea. Just keep on ripping. And once you get to here, you can rip off the pages. I like them so that they sort of waterfall down. Can you see that? You don't know how much I need you. Now the beauty of this is the spine here, because the people that made the magazine have already done all the hard work. Those pages are not going to come out unless you rip them. So the binding has already been done. I want to add something across the top there. Now, I have used in the past pieces of stick, but today I'm going to use this ruler because I really like the look of it and I really think that it will look great across the top there. So I'm going to break it off and add it to my journal. In order to do that, I really need to secure it on. So I went outside and got hubby's drill. I put it all together myself. I was quite proud of myself. And now I'm going to drill some holes right the way through and make sure that it is bound onto the top of my journal really securely. And I'll show you what I'm going to use to do that in a minute. But I'm really loving how that looks. And look at this little bit here. I just love that. It just snapped off of the ruler, so I'm going to leave it on. And let's drill the holes. I'm going to drill 3 holes across, and it needs to go right through the wood and it needs to go right through the magazine as well. So, yep, here we go. Right for hours just to please you. You don't know how much and there we have it. The 3 holes that I need to secure the ruler to my new art journal. Now I'm going to need pliers to attach it, so you might be able to guess what I'm using. That's right, some rusty copper wire. I think it's going to look awesome. This is all an experiment, guys, so let's get stuck in and see what I get up to. I've kind of got a rough idea that I want it to be sort of brutalist. You know, I don't want it to be sort of super neat at the top here. So I want to wind it around and around and just see how it ends up. So I just line the 3 holes up, go in through the middle and just start. And I just keep threading it backwards and forwards until I get it into a pattern that I think I like. And I think it turns out pretty good. So I'll speed this part up, but you get the idea. It's just like threading string through a hole. So yeah, I'll speed this part up so that you don't get bored watching me for 6 minutes while I'm doing it. 'Cause you're my home away from being all because I work intuitively, sort of as I'm going along, I'm thinking of the next step and what I want to do, how I want it to look. So I get my little jar of goodies out, and I think I'm going to put a charm on the top of the art journal as well. So let's see what I choose. Now, wire isn't easy to work with, let me tell you, so be prepared for a battle. But I don't know, the results are just awesome. I absolutely love how it turned out. So I did say I wanted the brutalist look, and that's what it turned out like. But I'm loving it. So now to move on and do the next step, I guess. I just love all the little bits, moves, and I love the little charm. And on the back, I've left that so that I can hang other dangles on it. So yeah, really happy with how it turned out. It's good. If you've seen my previous video entitled How to Prep an Art Journal, then you'll know that I go through the same process as this that I'm about to do now. So once I've got the art journal, you know, how I think I like it to look, then I go through and rip out pages that I don't think I want in there. Now, in the next step, you're going to see that I cover over a lot of these pages anyway, but I'm just sort of working intuitively, counting through a few pages, ripping a few out, and that's not how it ends up. You know, as I go along, I will rip out another page if I don't like the look of it, if I feel that it doesn't work with the page that I'm working on, etc., etc. So do it intuitively. Don't, you know, think that you've got to take out exactly this amount of pages, etc., etc. Just keep moving through and try and get a feel for how you want your art journal to look. In the next step, you'll need a non-stick baking paper. I just use the one from Aldi. It's cheap. You don't need to have anything expensive. And you need to cut these out now to the size of your pages roughly. So they end up looking like this. All right, they're not exact. They're just going to be used in between the pages. So just get a few, quite a few, and let's get started with the next step. So I'm going to use just ordinary gesso. I think this is a Montmartre brand. It was just from a department store. So yeah, that's the brand I use, but it's nothing flash, it's just gesso. And what I'm going to do is I do gesso on each page because I like to push back whatever images are on the pages already. I push them back so that I can do art over the top. So just grab an old credit card and start having fun. You'll see that I've put a drop sheet down so that I don't get it all over my desk because I tend to make a mess. But yeah, so you just want to start covering over or pushing back whatever images are on there. All right, and just have a bit of fun with this. Work intuitively, cover a little bit, cover it all, leave a word, do whatever you like, whatever is speaking to you when you do the page. And then the beauty of this is you can work quickly and you don't have to worry too much about what you're doing. You know, if it ends up all bitty like that is there, don't worry about it. It's going to be covered in art. It's just to push the images back that are already on there. And this is where the paper comes in handy. You put the greaseproof paper between the pages like that. And then you fold the page, and it means you don't have to wait for it to dry. You can keep moving and do the whole magazine in one sitting. Otherwise, if you were waiting for it to dry, you'd be there for days and days. You'd wait for this page to dry, then you'd be able to do the next page. No, with my method, you do it like this. You put the greaseproof paper in between, and then you can just keep moving. So yeah, I managed to do all of this in like, I don't know, half an hour. It was awesome. So yeah, it doesn't take very long. So I'll just speed up the rest of the process and you'll see what I get up to. And there you go. It's all done. Sitting there waiting for it to dry. I do like to leave the pages overnight just to give them a chance to dry. So I just come back in the next morning And I'm ready to take these grease-proof pieces out from in between the pages. It's always very exciting, this, because you never know what's going to happen. And see there where it's stuck? I just don't even worry about it, because I'm going to do art over the top anyway. So I just leave it and move on. You'll see you just get some really yummy textures, the pages sort of crinkle up, and it just adds so much interest to an art journal. I absolutely love this method of doing an art journal rather than just buying a plain white art journal. You know, see I've left words there, dream big, and that may inspire a page. I don't know if that page will even end up being in the final art journal. You just keep moving through. Try not to think about it too much. Try not to overthink what you're doing. You know, at this stage it's quite ugly and you think, oh my goodness, what's it ever going to turn out like? But trust the process, keep going through, and it's going to be beautiful. So all right, I'm just going to keep on going with these pages. Yay, last one. Let's see what I think. Oh, look at it. I'm loving it. It's going to be fantastic. I just love how it waterfalls and all the different textures it has. All right, let's move to doing the cover now. Oh, quickly, I should have just said, don't throw those bits of paper out because you can use them. Look at all the beautiful markings on them. You know, you can put them on a page, push the illustration back further. They've got just bits of paint on them, bits of magazine, whatever. So don't throw them away because you're going to use them. Now I'll start the cover. I usually trial different fabrics and ideas, trying to decide what I want. I really love this. I picked it up in France, if you saw my Paris videos. But even though I've gessoed the front there, I'm not worried. I'm just working intuitively. I can't decide what I want on the front. I kind of like this, but I'm not really sure. So you'll see that I go through a few different fabrics and then choose something that I want to use in the end. And finally we have a winner. So off camera I just went and just put an edge on it really with my sewing machine, just so it wouldn't fray too much. I don't mind the frayed look, but yeah, I just want it to be so it will sit under there and just stay that length, otherwise it will just keep fraying and fraying and fraying. So I'm just going to glue it down, and I'm really liking how it looks. It looks so sweet, and I just can't wait to decorate it. I've decided to just cut it down to size, but now I start getting like embroidery thread and bits and pieces together, starting to get a feel of what I want to do to the cover. So after cutting it down, I'm going to do some slow stitching and just get it attached to the actual cover. And yeah, I work intuitively, so I never really know what I'm doing next. I just keep going, and I hope that you'll do the same thing, because you know, you might want to glue it down. Well, then glue it down. Do whatever you like, you know. That's the whole thing about having your own art journal. You may choose to do embroidery. I don't know how to embroider, so I just do random slow stitching, as they like to call it, and I just find it very relaxing. There's no rhyme or reason to which way the stitches go, and you'll see when the cover's finished that it just all looks beautiful together. So just enjoy the process. So I just kept going until I thought I'd done enough, And you'll see on the right hand side I also did some purple. So yeah, lots and lots of stitches, just random. And then I start putting other sort of bits of fabric that I've sewn together. There's an old prayer card there, and I'm liking how they're looking with a little bit of purple, a little bit of pink. So the cover starts to come together. I wouldn't say it's ever really finished, but yeah, it starts to come together. So you can glue the front pieces down, you can sew them down, whatever you like, but this little prayer card is very fragile, so I chose to glue it down. Put a layer of matte medium over the top of that old prayer card as well, just to give it a little bit more stability, and then I'm just also gluing down the patches for the front. I'm loving how this is starting to look. I'm starting to get a feel for what I want the art journal to be about and how it's going to look. Now it's not finished. I don't think any journal's ever finished, but you'll see the cover. This was an old prayer card that I got in Paris this year. You will have seen that from one of my other Paris flea market videos. And this little dangle I just had, I think it's a necklace thing, but then I just made the art journal sign just on a bit of canvas and some patches of fabric. I found the feather at the park, so I added that, and then I found the flower at the park, so I added that, and of course the wire you've seen. But yeah, all turned out really well. You have to just flip this over to look at the art. Oh, and I've got my little bee there as well. That's really cute. And I do like to put a pin on the front of my journals, because if I find something I pin it on there and I don't lose it. Alright, so let's flip it over. So first page, it's just got a flap that I can flip over. And the old boot represents the journeys that I go on. And this is a house with an old stamp that I got from Paris. You will have seen that as well. A doily. This is an envelope in that whole lot of Paris stamps as well. And there's still room in there for me to journal. I haven't done that yet. And with what's happened this year with women and things, with certain elections, I thought that we could have a picture in here of women, and I wrote there, Women Unite. I like the symbolism of that. And also this one here, let's teach young girls that they don't need to be polite to men who make them uncomfortable. I like that too. So I don't know where I got that, but I just stuck it in an old envelope. And the important was actually on the envelope when it came. This one's just an old envelope from 1964. But inside I put a little mermaid, but it was sort of symbolic, because on the back I wrote, remember to ask for help when you feel like you're drowning. And that's all the things that you put, don't you, in your art journals. Little things like this. It's an envelope from the UK. And inside I wrote, I think sometimes we are hugged by people in our sleep that aren't there, but their souls stop by and leave some strength. I love that. The slow stitching. This day I was just reminded of my grandfather. Art without emotion is not art. And then I saw this written on Instagram and it made me laugh. Life should not be a journey to the grave in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, wow, what a ride. It just tickled me to read that. And then I love this Japanese fabric. Use that. And I saw this written as well. It says, abracadabra is actually from the Aramaic phrase abracadabra, which means literally I will create as I speak. And I think that's what we do as journalists, don't we? We just sit down with a page, we don't know what it's going to be, and next thing you know, we've got art. So yeah, lots of different things in here. These postcards, I found 3 of them just at the park. They're old May Gibbs postcards. Not sure why somebody left them at the park, but yeah, that's where I found them, and then I brought them home, and they just fitted in this journal. So, love these old photographs. Don't know about you, but I'm always picking up old photographs. And then I love this envelope just for the fact that it's from 1965 and it's survived. It's still here. A bit worse for wear. It's got writing all over the back, like somebody used it to add up. But I just love it. I love the patina and how it looks. And of course an art journal is not complete without a Frida Kahlo image. This page is very simple. It's just old tea bags that I stuck to the page, and then I've got this fabric that I just absolutely love, so I've used that. And then I saw this illustration in a book, old couple, so I've just slow stitched around, added an old card that Kay sent me from Kay's Vintage. This page is not complete. I like the circle, and then I like the circle of this fabric. I think it's like an old coaster that you put your drinks on or something, but it's made of fabric, and I think it's from Holland. So I like the 2 circles together, so I just stuck it in there, ready to go. And then I really love this image here, just out of a book. And then I just add little sayings to things, you know, that I see at the time, the day that I'm doing it. That page hasn't been touched. This one here, my granddaughter did all these circles on a piece of paper and she was really proud of herself. So I thought I would add it to my journal, and she loves fairies. So I saw this in a book. It says, "Begone. If you have told the truth, the fairies will bother you no more." Just fitted in with that. It's a bit of the rose coming off. Oh dear. And this is not really finished, but I just like the start of it, so that's nice. And then this one here, I made a ruffle out of all the bits of paper that I used between the pages at the beginning there. And that's an old image of Tinkerbell. And then I just sewed it on my sewing machine. So that was that day. This here was on the books that I got in Glasgow. If you've seen my Scotland journaling video, there was a shop that you could buy craft bundles in, and I just stuck it in there. It just reminds me of that day when I found all those beautiful things after I'd seen Liz. This is just a simple little page, like a collage, and then I found this roses, so I sort of coloured the roses in because it was a black and white pic, same sort of colour that I've got on the page. And this is a mermaid that I found, and she sort of moves, so I liked her. And then because the page had this sort of colour in it, I added this illustration here, and I really like the old sort of 1920s buildings with the curves on them, and I love this fabric here. I've always loved that. What's happening here? Oh yes, so this is another one of those postcards, the May Gibbs ones that I found at the park, and then I've added the flap with different bits of fabric on it and a different sort of stitching, and the stitching just sort of meanders around, and it sort of reminded me of my walks in the park. And then I've got the little May Gibbs gumnut babies. I don't know if you've seen those before, but they're really sweet and very popular in Australia, and I love how their bottoms just stick out from the bottom there. And then you fold that over, and that's another illustration my granddaughter did, and I've got room still to journal underneath, so I will probably do that on another day. This was an old library card, and then I stuck one of my business cards on it and a little bit of doily. sorry, not doily, a serviette. Pulled it apart and stuck that on there. But yeah, that's from 1965. I really like those. And I love this page, Dark Days. Just love that illustration. I think it was on Instagram. And that's still an old serviette as well. So I just thought it went really well together. And that's just really simple. I don't know if I'm going to journal over the top of that. I kind of like how this page turned out. It's an old strip from, you know, photos in the old days. And this illustration. It's supposed to be dogs at Cooper's Creek. I don't know. I can't see any dogs in the illustration. This one is just a tea bag that's been stained and the word beautiful. I don't know yet. Well, I'll do something else over the top. I really love this page. This is just a paper bag. And then I inked the words, all of the people that rented this book thought they had time. And I really like the illustration. She looks like she's on death's door. And then the actual library borrowing was from 1962. So yeah. And then this just says start. Just do something in your journal. Doesn't have to be, you know, a Monet. This was art that I'd done previously, and I put it on that page because I really like it. I don't know. There's just something about it that I really like. It's just abstract, really. And this page hasn't been touched at all. That's still part of the magazine. And then this one here. Don't comment if you weren't there. And the reason I wrote that was because, you know, social media is always trying to make us comment on useless information. It drives me crazy. And then I wrote, actively minding your own business is an art form. I believe that. So yeah, lots of little things going on. I found this on the floor at the hotel where we had a meal. It's Tasmania Distillery. And there's another photo at the back there from 1894. Really like. This page here is sort of bits and pieces. Don't really know what's going on with it. And I'll probably do journaling over the top of it. You know, sometimes you sit down and you go to do some art, but nothing comes. And you start sticking things down and you just think you're not happy with it when it's finished, but I don't know. I'll go back to it. This one here, it's just stickers from my antiquarian sticker book. You look fat in that, he's saying to her. She says, oh no, I'm fat. So then I wrote, one comment can change a life. Be mindful with your words. And I think that's a good thing. I quite like that page. This one is just part of the magazine as it was. And I just wrote that I miss winter. And I do. I miss the cold. So this page hasn't been touched at all. And then this has just got a photograph on it. And a bit of old pattern, out of a pattern. And then that's about as much as I've done now. Still got lots of pages left to go. And I will go back and back and back and go over different pieces of my art. And, you know, add things to it and stitch. This is just a flip through now of sort of what I've got done. But yeah, I don't know about you, but art journals are very rarely finished for me. I go back over and over them, and sometimes I might come in here and even do a morning page and then do some painting over the top or some gesso, because that's also a nice thing to do in your art journals. Yeah, so I hope that you've enjoyed this little flip through and that you'll make a journal yourself from an old magazine, and I hope that you'll let me know how you go in the comments under this video and just have a go. Like, who's checking what you're doing? Nobody, you know. It's just for your enjoyment. Just love these old envelopes. So yeah, that's it. But it turned out so beautiful, you guys. I'm really, really happy with it. And yeah. Alright, let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the next video. If you're not subscribed, I'd really appreciate you doing that. I'm nearly this far away from 3,000 subscribers. I think it's 60 people. So if you're not subscribed and you think you can help me out, I'd love you to do that. So thank you so much, and bye-bye for now.